fingers feel vibraty. Boing, 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 boing. Little shake.
I'm Melissa, and I'm updating this really hard to clean kitchen countertop and replacing this grungy looking sink. So far, I've cleaned the tile grout, removed the sink, and for the first time ever, applied epoxy. Next, I'll protect the finish with a polyurethane top coat. Come hang out with me. Let's see how it goes.
I'm ready to start the final part of this whole process, and that's putting on a matte top coat. What I'm using for the top coat is from Leggari, honestly, because I really like their videos and they make it seem really easy. And they're tiny. This set will cover 50 square feet, and that's more than enough. This is 5 ounces, this is 15. So I've got 3/8 nap rollers that they suggested. So what I saw online was to wrap duct tape around it. And so by doing this, you're preventing the fuzz that's on the roller from getting into the product and on the counter. Ooh, let's see. See the fuzz on there? You've been defuzzified. You mix this and this in a bucket, stir it up, at least a good 3 minutes like before. They suggest to start with A first. Give it a little shake. Make sure there's no hairs in there. Just like milk. This is thicker. There's less of it. It's the hardener. Okay, clearly all drained out. I don't think I need gloves for this. I can't believe how many gloves I went through yesterday. I think we're good. All right, I'm going to stir this up. It's not like with the epoxy where you have to stir it very slow so you don't introduce bubbles. This is not like that. You should still, as always, scrape the edges on the bottom just to make sure that you're getting everything perfectly mixed. It all went down really well. I'm going to let this wait for like an hour and a half, and then I can apply a second coat if I still see shiny spots through here. Okay, I've let this dry for about an hour, and you can kind of see the shiny parts sticking through here and there. If you don't hit all of it, you're going to see the shine underneath. Especially if you go at an angle, you can kind of see where it didn't quite hit 100%. So I'm going to use what's left, putting 2 coats of the matte on top. I'm going to use a foam brush to kind of get in the corners because I can see shiny epoxy where it hit the backsplash just a tiny bit. And then I'm going to go through and fill in these other bright spots. It's another day. I let the top coat dry overnight, and I'm not thrilled with how it's turned out. Let me try to show you what the problem is. I get a lot of light, especially in the afternoons from those 2 windows. The finish is uneven to me. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? Like patches that are a little duller than others. I coated it twice, so it's not about the shine of the epoxy coming through. And the thing is, if this was anywhere else, I would just leave it, because if you see over here on this side, this doesn't get any direct light. And so it's very hard to see any of those imperfections. So What am I going to do about it? I spent some time on the internet last night. I can kind of feel differences in texture when I rub my hands across it. But let's just see if a scuffing will help even this out a bit. It feels a little smoother, but I can still see the variations. Man. Okay, I spent some time on the internet researching what I could do next. What I've decided is to sand this down. I'm going to be smart and wear a respirator this time. And then I'm going to coat it again with this Urethane satin water-based polyurethane. I think that's going to give me more of the finish that I'm hoping for. It'll be a little less matte. I think it was too dull over there in general. I think even if I were to sand stuff down, it still wouldn't quite be what I was hoping for. So I got some fun stuff. Sticks, which you have to pay for. Sponge brushes, sanding pads, new tack cloth, wiping cloths, microfiber cloths, and then more buckets. Okay, so first things first, pop this onto the sander. After holding that electric sander, my fingers feel vibraty. Boing, 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 boing. There are like sort of slight drippiness along the edges. I'm kind of feeling around to see if I can feel the imperfection. And if I can, then I want to work on that a little more. Shop vac time. This was handed down to me. It works really well. I'm so glad to have it. All right. Ooh. What's interesting to me is that I put a matte poly top coat on here and then I sanded it. It's still there, but the surface has been roughed up. And now I'm going to put a satin top coat on. So not as matte, a little more on the spectrum from matte to gloss. And still somehow it's going to be clearer than what's beneath it. And I looked it up and it said that it's the topmost coat that determines clarity, which I don't get that. If you can explain the physics of that to me, that would be great. I'd love to hear it. Which is interesting, even just wiping this down, it's clear. Fascinating. Because there's so much area, I probably will go over this once with a damp towel and then I'll go over it again. Now we wait.
To get the finish that I'm hoping for, I got a can of this Urethane Ultimate Polyurethane. It's water-based and it's in a satin. I didn't want it to be quite as matte as it was before. 3 parts poly to 1 part distilled water. 8 to 10 ounces of this. I only need about this much. If you get one of these little measuring buckets, if you go to this first column where it says 311, and you see these 3 columns here. If I want to fill it to about this 2 level, which is about where 8 ounces would be, if I fill it to here with poly, then I would fill it to here with water. So first you add the poly till it's at this line, then you add water until it's about this line. For now, we can ignore this 3rd line. And I'm going to be wiping this on with the one of these microfiber cloths. It appears milky when wet, but dries to a crystal clear finish. Now, the reason they suggest distilled water is because if you use tap water, there could be minerals, there should be minerals in there, and that may leave a deposit. Where's baby? Man, wish me luck. We'll see it's starting to become more satiny as it dries. It's a little hard for me to tell. Like, I can see my white marks. I don't know if that'll last or if that will disappear once it dries.
It's a new day. Looking pretty good. I'm liking it. I definitely think the satin was a better choice just for me and my preferences. There's still a little bit of inconsistency in the finish, so I'm going to apply another coat today using a sponge applicator. Last night I sanded with 400 grit, just lightly scuffing it, and today we'll pop on that next coat. I'm going to be using the same satin Urethane I used yesterday, but I'm not going to dilute it today. Also, in doing my research, I probably should have stirred what was in here, though it doesn't really look much different. I think that it was probably pretty well mixed already. I got lucky, but you really should stir it. The key apparently to applying polyurethane is fastness. I don't like to do things quickly. I like to take my time. So this whole process kind of stresses me out a little bit. It's like an art. Okay, so the key is work while it's wet. Don't go back over what you put down after a certain point, but you just kind of have to use the force to know when that point is. It's definitely one of those things where you don't just learn it once. You need to do this again and again to kind of get a feel for how quickly you need to work. So I'm just going to be doing the very best I can. Because I'm using such a wide brush, I'm going to pour this into a wider bucket. I need to stop and think for half a second how I'm going to do the stroke. I go this way because it's such a weird shape. I could go in any direction. If I start laying down poly in one direction, should all subsequent coats also go in the same direction? Would it be a problem if I suddenly went in this direction? I don't know. I'm going to go in the same direction. I don't know. Why not? But that would be good to know. Get nice and soaked in there. And then I'm going to work fast. So freaking stressful. Okay. At least favorite way to work. I have to take my time. Can I miss a spot? Didn't do the edges over here. I'm gonna do them real quick. Do those edges real fast. Oh, baby. Okay, I'm overlapping this edge. It's actually really helpful that this is laid out, this sort of grid work with these tiles being in these little squares. Kind of helps me get in my mind how far I'm going and where I've been. For the most part, I'm using a really light touch. Going back over it very gently. Oh, fucking hell. Okay. All right, that's looking really good, actually. I'm gonna let this dry, and we'll see how it is in a couple hours. Are you ready? been a day and I think it's looking good. Check it out. Look at that. And when the light hits it, I think it still looks good. I am happy. This is good enough. I am ready to call this project done. All right, what time is it? 10:06. Time of doneness now. And you know what else that means? It's time to release the kitties. Oh, my poor babies. You ready to come out? Yeah? Ace? You glad to be out of there? Yeah. Oh, there are a lot of good smells. I am so happy with how this turned out overall. The epoxy and then the satin top coat. I think it looks really good and it's so easy to clean. While I initially thought that the matte would be a good choice, turns out I like the satin better. It's not quite as shiny as the high gloss epoxy and not quite as dull as the matte finish. So a really good compromise for me. And I wanted a softer look for my kitchen. I watched a lot of Leggari product videos before attempting this entire project, and they were super helpful to me. Really well put together. While I ultimately didn't go with their top coat because I wanted something less matte, I totally encourage you, if this is something that interests you, to check out their videos. And I've put some links in the description below. So totally inspirational. Maybe they will be a good inspiration for you as well. I am so close to finishing this kitchen update. All I have left is to install the kitchen sink and redo all of the pipes beneath it because the holes are in different places. I'll explain that later. Until then,